So welcome back to our narrowboat again. I'm currently waiting for a cratch cover man to measure up for the back and the front, bow and the stern, and I thought I'd quickly film a tour as quickly as possible anyway, to give you an idea of what kind of condition this boat is in, what plans I'm going to do, and I'd love any tips and advice of what you would do as well, because some things I have ideas, but now we've spent about 5 nights on it, I'm now thinking maybe I don't need to do that or the other, but I suppose you get a different perspective. Right, let's get started. The key things that you'll probably want to know about this boat is that it's a 57-foot reverse layout narrowboat, and it was built in 2011. And with it being a reverse layout, that means I'm currently stood in the kitchen, and the kitchen is at the back. So the first thing that I thought when I saw it was the kitchen seemed quite small. We've used it quite a few times, even cooked a roast dinner, and actually I'm quite impressed with how spacious it seemed to be. There is a space for a washing machine just under here, because obviously we want to try and future-proof it for living long term. Oh, but luckily it's already got the water feed under there and the waste attachment. Now initially we thought this was a 240 volt fridge, but somebody's written on the back it's 12 volt. It seems to have been rigged up for that anyway, but if we ever broke this, we've been looking at newer ones and they're about £1,000. So yeah, we're going to look after this. It's got a couple of chips and stuff on it, but that kind of price, and it works at the moment. We're just going to have it as it is. There's chips in there. We've got a sink with a rinser just here, and this is definitely something that I want to replace eventually because it's very scratched and dull. But in terms of the kitchen worktop, I personally think this has seen better days. So the first thing that I thought when I saw this was, rather than restoring it, I wanted to rip it out completely. But I've been convinced to leave it for now and just oil it. And this is where the hob area is. And if you look closely, it's come away, it's wobbling, and this actually isn't attached properly to the kitchen unit. So when I refinish the worktops for this year, I'm going to fix the join, but it doesn't separate at the back at the same time, and that's why I don't want to take it out and biscuit join it. I'm just going to put a mending plate under there and a resin fix. So that's a job that will be coming probably in the next month or two. Now this is some sort of work saver thing above the hob, and I'm not overly keen, but at the moment I do appreciate the space. The edging is just some gaffer tape, and I think this is some sort of like Fablon, which also matches the fridge freezer. But if you take it off and put it away, we have a 4 hob burner. Again, this is something that I wanted to replace because I thought it looked dated with the rest of it. But I know that once I've restored the worktops, it actually might look like a nice shaker kitchen. Although a downside to it is that it doesn't ignite unless it's on a 240 volt. So I've got one of these that I love anyway, because I hate fire and the possibility of burning myself. So that's how I'm currently lighting it when the inverter's not on or it's not connected to the mains. Now we do love a coffee in the morning, so at the moment I'm using a very basic coffee maker from home because I've got coffee grounds in the cupboard above, but we now only buy coffee beans for one of those bean to cup machines at home, so that's why I'm just using this for now. I do have a cafetiere, a stainless steel one, but I do miss just popping these papers in. It's just a lot less mess. And a kettle, which is a 1 cup kettle, it'll only boil 1 cup of boiling water at any one time. Again, from home, but that's just there if we're hooked up to the mains. But we also have a gas kettle that we use if we want to reserve energy. It's one of those collapsible ones. But for anyone who's seen quite a lot of our camping videos, we had a lot of this stuff anyway. We still have the camper van, so technically we've got 3 things of each thing now for home, here, and a camper van. But yeah, that is very useful to fold and put away. Now I'll talk about the electric shortly, But we also have a gas grill and a gas oven. And this is the first time we've ever had an oven that's at a dog-friendly height. So when we first got this boat, we thought we wanted to put this above the fridge freezer and have it more integrated. But at the moment, I quite like this, and I like the idea of less hassle of moving it around. But we have noticed that Hans likes to try and pour the oven open. So yeah, we've got to keep an eye out on that. Now, if we do decide to move the oven here, then I'll have to rejig this configuration. At the moment, this cupboard has our plates and bowls and cups in here, and a backup coffee percolator. I don't know what you call these. I've had it for years though. And maybe leave the position of the microwave, but that might also mean compromising on the size of the fridge freezer. And I eat a lot of fresh vegetables, so yeah, that might be an issue for me. I've also been impressed with the amount of storage that I've had underneath here. So this is where I keep all of the pots and pans at the moment, and I've got these baskets. In fact, you'll see I bought these to do a veg rack, but I've decided to go for the smaller ones. And I've got cleaning products in here. So I do plan to do a few cooking videos on here, but that is going to be strictly for my Patreon page, because my husband also watches a lot of narrowboat videos, and when they start cooking, he skips forward. So I'm going to leave that for a few select people who want to watch it. I also have a food blog at tastefulyvicky.com. Now, apart from having the fridge freezer for fresh fruit and veg, something that we always like to have at hand just in case is a cupboard full of dry food. And to be honest, all we did was raid our camping food storage, so nothing went out of date. And it's certainly not fine dining, but it's nice to have emergencies like chili con carne, chicken curry. But it's also my herb cupboard, any oils, things that I make salad dressings to go with my fresh salads. And pretty much what you see, apart from the odd appliance, is what came with the boat. There's also this really handy cupboard, which I may change at some point because I wouldn't mind a spice rack here. But this is for any of the tank keys for the boat, for the water or the diesel, or we'll keep the I nearly said National Trust then, the Canal and River Trust key to open the locks. But I'm a little bit nervous that this will eventually break. Oh, and a very important tape measure. The utensil rack was already here as well, which suits me perfectly, although I've brought all of these from home and I keep finding duplicates to bring. Now, before I even start talking about what's inside the cupboards next to the cruiser stern, I just want to talk about the windows for a minute, because obviously, if you've seen from the outside, this is the least traditional part of this boat, and it's obviously had a change in its history. And that is, it's got UPVC double glazing. And since it's been changed, the architrave around the windows isn't the original. To me, it looks like soft pine, and it's not been chamfered around. It's also got a few holes filled with wood filler, not in the right colour. This is definitely something I want to change. We've noticed they are cosy though, but I'm just not happy with the ash wood veneer that's obviously started to peel, and you can see water damage in that area. But they tend to be on the windows that open, not the fixed ones. But the other thing that I had in mind was it's quite a dark area towards the top. So I would like to paint this area, and there's a lot of screw holes dotted around from previous belongings that were there. So I've got to ask myself, do I replace it and then paint it? It feels like a pointless exercise. So I think I'm going to paint it first, try and fill any of the areas. I know it's a veneer, it could be tricky, particularly on the joins. I'll just see how it goes, but I don't want to paint everywhere. I really want to keep a lot of the trim detail so it's not too stark. There's also some steps here, and the top one removes, and there's just some paint down there. That's something else I wouldn't mind replacing. I think it's just a little bit tired. So while I'm here, this double door thing isn't the original ash door like this one on the other side. And we've been trying to work out whether it was here in the first place because it's actually MDF. And what we can't stand about it is there's a light switch behind here to control the kitchen area. But it's a really awkward position because the cupboard door doesn't open fully. So if you want to turn the light on and off, you've got to open that, reach here, and then close it. So I was going to replace this and actually buy myself a router bit to replace it properly. But now we're thinking it shouldn't be there at all. So I think we're going to take that off and we can have better access to all the distribution panels. Oh, and that's that awkward light switch that I struggle to get to. And then below, you've got the 12-volt distribution panel. Now, I don't know why it says the Peacock, whether that came from another boat called the Peacock or it's just a brand name. No idea. Yep, we've got a radio, a 2.7 kilowatt inverter. So while we're away from the mains on the marina, that's going to help us power our laptops, our Alexa on board, and our big TV that we can't live without. And a battery charger on the right. And Hans's very important dog supplies. Next, for the left-hand cupboard, this is basically where we keep our coats. I don't really know what those are for yet. A lot of this stuff was left behind. Another PowerPoint. A really useful mooring pin system that we've bought recently that twists into the ground with this. And this is the switch to our hot water when we want to shower or wash the pots, which leads to the calorifier underneath here. And that means we can get hot water from the diesel engine. Okay, so that is the kitchen done. At the moment for rubbish, we're currently just utilising the original key hook thing that was here and just recycling carrier bags and putting them in there. There is a space underneath this worktop which is cut on an angle, but we're currently using that for Hans's water and food. So once I've done some cooking in the kitchen, this is where I like to come and eat. I sit down at this large L-shaped dinette, and this also turns into a bed. Part of me doesn't want to do that right now. Let's do it. That is stiff. Oh my God. No. Ah, finally. Oh God, it's not ideal. Well, that's not going to happen. So this is just one of the storage lids. There's another load that go along the length of the bed. I just pull it up and there is a load of tools. And then there's power tools and stuff further along. In fact, that, I'm going to give that a go. The drip catcher. Straight away. Yay! Right, put that back. So now we're in the lounge area, just past the dinette, and I'm in front of a bookshelf which was already here, and this is definitely going to go. It's really useful at the moment because we've been storing tools as we've been doing odd jobs, but it's also sagging, which tells me it's just too long, there's no support here. But what I'm going to do is take this down and design a pull-out desk so my husband can work here while I work at the big table. Then next to me here is some floating wall shelves that don't feel that stable, and plus I can't really see a big use for them. So I'm going to take those down at some point as well and put something else there. Don't know what yet though. And just above here is the big TV. There was a TV here before, including the bracket, but instead we took it down and put our favourite type of TV on, the kind with ambient lighting at the side. For heating, there's two radiators here. And what I like about this area is it's quite open plan. We haven't got a sofa in here or anything, but we do have this old man chair, which I like to call it, which Hans loves, and it's actually an IKEA one that was left here from the previous owners. But we are planning to get rid of this and have 2 reclining chairs, because I like to do exercise in the morning and I want to do it in this spot, move things out of the way, and then we can put these back. So now the IKEA chair is directly in front of me. It faces towards this Morso multi-fuel stove. We need to sand it down and repaint this, but it's been really useful, and we've got a few logs here, compressed sawdust logs, and we've also cooked a couple of things on there as well. But this gets really toasty. It does get a little bit smelly, but I think yeah, it's nice to be able to burn some wood if we've got it. It's just nice to have. Then we have this shelf, which is sort of like in the centre or the heart of the room. But the internet is something that we've done on this boat, and we had to access behind here where all the cables are. But I'm going to show you that in another video, because underneath here is the TV stuff. It was a bit tricky, but above there is where the aerial and the internet lead to outside. Let's go to the bathroom, shall we? Now this bathroom is a walk-through bathroom, and we've never been on one of these on a hire boat. So let's pop you somewhere, plop. So I've just walked through this door here, and here is the sink. The tap currently has a drip catcher. This is another job we're going to sort out soon, because it's dripping from the handle. And I've tried to unscrew this to replace the cartridge. I think it's easier just replacing the whole thing. So I've got a new tap under here waiting for me to sort it out. Some storage under here, speed fit plumbing. I felt in control when I saw that. And the toilet under here is a cassette toilet. We've been on hire boats before where we've looked for a pump out and we've not been able to find them, albeit it was Christmas week. But we like the idea of this, where we can have a spare one just in case, which we have bought, and then empty it when we find an Elson point. Now when we had a survey done just before we bought it, there were a few things that needed to be done. We knew about like a leaky tap and stuff, but I didn't expect a cracked shower tray, so I insisted on that getting done before I committed, and there were a few other things that needed to be done to get the 4-year boat safety scheme as part of the sale. More again on that in another video. And it's a very good size. There is a pump here to pump the water out. It's not the deepest of shower trays, but it just gives you enough to not waste water, which is what we quite like. Yeah, that gets really nice and warm. The pressure is perfect. I've got no complaints about this shower. And there's some storage under here for towels, and a chrome towel radiator just here. Now it's getting really tight to film in these spaces now, but we're now in the bedroom, which is at the front of the boat. And I love the carpentry in here. So you can see the bathroom door is on the left, and this is our small double bed. Now we've got a Temper mattress at home that we love, but one of the things that the manufacturers say is you need to have them well ventilated and they can't be in damp spaces. So that was completely out for here, and we decided to compromise with a part spring, part memory foam mattress. You're all right then. Underneath we still have a breathable membrane underneath as well, so we'll keep an eye out on that, but it's very cozy, and it's me that gets the squish side at the end. These lights are really useful, and more storage. But where does Hans sleep, I hear you ask? It's not the best place to put this, but right now Hans is loving just sleeping here in a small cozy space, and every now and again we find him just go to his bed just to chill out. So yeah, we're going to leave that there for now. Now I know this is a terrible camera angle, but it's so light, making the camera really dark. But here's a wardrobe at the just past the foot of the bed, and there's more electrical points inside here, but it seems to be spacious enough for us. And further down is where we've been putting our Hoover and a few little bits and possibly some sort of exercise mat for me. And then another wardrobe in here. The water pump is directly under here. And that's where we might have a TV in the corner. So let's have a quick glance outside. This can only be opened from inside. It also has a 38 horsepower diesel engine. So hopefully that's covered everything, but if you've got any questions, feel free to let me know below and I'll do my best to answer. And yeah, there's definitely a few upcoming projects to do on renovating and fixes because I don't want a leaky tap. Anyway, hopefully I'll see you in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.